Hello and welcome to this very special edition of The Right Stand. Namaste, I am Anand Narasimhan. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenge, the gauntlet has been thrown in front of 77 able members who have been handpicked to be part of the Council of Ministers of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The last 18 odd months have been tough on the country, they've been tough on the government, and there is a shift or perhaps a moving away from what was earlier thought as minimum government and maximum governance. Many would say that it is still minimum government and it is still the promise of maximum governance. But the task now is to implement at a pace which is faster than ever. And that's why there is a Yuva cabinet which is younger than ever. The average age of the Council of Ministers under Prime Minister Narendra Modi is 56. The numbers, the representations and the people who have come through is significant, and we will talk about that. These are visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually engaging with his entire Council of Ministers just a short while ago. The message is clear. We have to work towards building a strong, secure, stable, Swabhimani, Atmanirbhar Bharat. That is the story. And it is this Yuva cabinet, it is this Yuva Shakti that has to pick up the run rate on Vikas. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenges are many. Let's try and understand why that despite having about 53 ministries in all, there are 30 cabinet ministers. There are a lot of ministries that have now been merged to build more synergies. Health, chemical fertilizers, all come under Mansukh Mandavia ji. Mansukh Mandavia is now going to handle 3 different departments, but because there are synergies and it is equally important going forward, pharmaceuticals, chemicals essential for drugs, key to medical infrastructure, and this is a learning which has come through in the last 18 months, especially during the lockdown and this pandemic situation. Dharmendra Pradhan ji moves away from Petroleum Ministry, but he is getting education, skill development and entrepreneurship. And if you were to think back and or look at it closely, all of them are interlinked. And all of them are linked in the new education policy 2020, which is still only being tested in about 20,000 schools across the country. How in this pandemic times is tough. So that roadmap is very clear. Right balance between syllabus, skill sets, important when job creation is a big challenge. And also jobs of the future are going to be very different from the standard jobs, opportunities and the thought process today. So that's the big challenge for him. This man, the former Home Secretary under in the UPA, who then moved and joined the BJP, gets into Parliament, and then also as the MOS now gets a full cabinet position as the Power Minister. Power and new and renewable energy will help India move from fossil dependence to clean and green energy, and this is a critical aspect in terms of deliverables for India even under climate change. 3 aspects which are very critical, ladies and gentlemen: power, water and nutrition, Poshan. And these are going to 3 people who are very key, and their role is going to be very important. We talked about R.K. Singh. The other person is the Jal Shakti Minister, Gajendra Shekhawat, and of course, Ms. Smriti Irani. But this man, who is the MOS Home, G. Kishan Reddy, again finds 3 different ministries clubbed because they are all interlinked. Culture, tourism, and of course the Northeast, the depth and the vastness, the richness of the culture of the Northeast is so immense, and we need the rest of India to go and visit those 7 sisters. And there is so much to talk about, integral to our civilizational ethos and the grassroots. And that is something from Vrindavan to the Doon Valley. It is true. Commerce, industries, consumer affairs and textiles, again one person who's core to the bedrock of this entire strength of the government, that is Piyush Goyal. So railways goes out of his hand. He was also overseeing power that goes on to RK Singh. But this is critical for our Atmanirbhar story because this is going to drive the exports. This is also going to revive the textile industry, which is a bedrock for so many other countries in this region. So this is the clubbing that has happened. And let's also try and also decode how the synergy has been built around a core of professionals who represent all segments of society and a pan-India presence. Every state finds a representation. So there is motivation for everyone to deliver because they'll have a story to go back and tell their people. Perform or perish, perhaps, is the message. And from cricket to politics, that's the reality. Everywhere, you have to perform, else you perish. Rewarding performance and enforcing accountability. This is what a lot of people are saying has happened. 11 women, 27 OBCs, 12 SC, 8 STs. So about 47 from OBC, SC and ST itself in a cabinet of 77. Ministries with similar domains have been clubbed. Salient, maximum governance. Youth, professionally skilled faces have been inducted. And the strength of the Council of Ministers increasing by 25. But those 25 are largely youngsters, younger people infusing fresh energy and more importantly, forcing on delivery. That's what they have to do. Implementation, which is going to be very, very key. So are they going to be able to pick up the run rate on Vikas? Because right from ball one, they are chasing a run score or an average of or a run rate of 10. That's how they'll have to perform over the next 2.5 years before the report card is presented for Lok Sabha 2024. The UR team, Modi, to pick up the run rate on Vikas is the big question that we ask. Let's go across to our guests and get their thoughts. After, as the dust settles, the first round of the cabinet meeting is open over. Some big announcements have also been made with regards to the agriculture fund and also the thrust that is going to be given as far as healthcare. 23,000 crores have been earmarked, 15,000 crores to come from the centre, 8,000 crores from the state to build an infrastructure which will help perhaps tide over the third wave, which is right around the corner. The indications are 11 states are raising the alarm bells. So Guru Prakash Paswan, another young leader of the BJP, is with us, and he's also risen hard from the ranks, and there must be a certain belief now within the youngsters who are now saying कि काम करेंगे तो कम से कम recognition तो मिल रहा है. संघ में भी हो, संगठन में भी हो, BJP में भी हो, हर जगह there is this belief. How much of it is going to fructify? How much of these people in which the Prime Minister has shown belief? We'll have to wait and watch. That is on performance. Vijay Shankar Pandey, former bureaucrat, is with us. Rashid Kidwai back with us, and he would have had at least 24 hours to chew on and then consider what has happened. And now let's see if his perspective is a little more evolved from where it is. We are not celebrating anybody. We are just saying that there are people with potential who are being given a chance, Rashidji. But the fact is, underlying aspect is performance. Good to have Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, President NAREDCO. And good to see you, hale and hearty and healthy. I know you also had a tough time with the virus. It's given all of us a little bit of a tough time. Ghanshyam Tiwari is with us. Good to have you with us, Ghanshyamji. And Karan Verma, author and political analyst, is also with us. So let me start with Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani. How would you see this reshuffle? No, I will see it. We'll call it overhaul. It has to be an overhaul. And the strength has gone up by 25. 12 ministers have been, 12 people have been dropped. 4, 5 big faces have gone up. So it's an overhaul which has happened. How would you view this, Dr. Sam?
Anand, I'm very, very clear. The Prime Minister wants performance, performance and performance. And second, he is ready for any political race that is required in the country. I think these are the two annals which are very, very clear as far as the change and shuffle is in there in the cabinet. Number two, I believe that he's talking about consolidation of the subjects. So when education and skill development were kept separate, there was a conflict because we didn't know what really needed to be done for each of it. In reality, skilling and education are part and parcel not only of the new education policy, but the need of the country. So if you found that in many cases you were educating people through the education process, but in reality, you wanted to skill people. Let me tell you one short statement. That is, today, I find people are unemployed. But if I want a skilled plumber or a carpenter or a mason, I'm not able to get enough of them. So on one side, you say there is unemployment. And on the other hand, I'm not getting it. the consolidation has become necessary and effective. So performance, effectiveness, consolidation, and politics. I think these are the three platforms on which this reshuffle has taken place. And it is a clear-cut signal to the country that the Prime Minister means business on all the three fronts, not just one.
True. Ghanshyam Tiwari?
To your viewers and fellow panelists, I believe that if half the cabinet, especially the voices of the cabinet, have been fired, booted out, I must say to the outgoing ministers that if the Prime Minister would have performed better, these ministers would still be in the cabinet. Because the Prime Minister could not perform better, he needs a new cabinet to give a sense that he can still perform. But the reality is the things that are most important to the country: employment, education, economy, railways, infrastructure. You see everywhere there is a complete mess, and you don't see a clear leadership visible. To the incoming ministers, I congratulate them and give them my best wishes. But I must say that people who were the voices of this government, who would often do cabinet briefing, who could have an independent mind and fiercely defend the government, today they are not there anymore. So it is clearly going to lead to a greater centralization. There will be less independent voices. You cannot replace a Ravi Shankar Prasad or Prakash Javadekar in a press conference by anyone else that you are inducting. My final point is that BJP has always boasted that it is the largest party in the world. The largest party in the world is so hollow in terms of talent that it has to put so many bureaucrats, as mentioned by a bureaucrat who served the Modi government. Mr. Anil Swarup tweeted about this, that if all the critical ministries of this government are going to be run by the bureaucrats, then what is politics about? And that's the key question. If the largest party in the world is so hollow for talent, it exposes them. It seems that the leaders who will stand up on a stage and say, "Achhe din aayenge and vikas hoga and 2 crore rozgar har mahine, har saal paida honge," those are leaders only for speeches. And then those who will actually have to work for it are bureaucrats co-opted because this government cannot perform on its own merit.
कमाल है, अब ब्यूरोक्रेट्स रन द एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन उनके हाथ में। अब उनको सरकार में लाए तो आप पूछ रहे हो क्या उनकी काबिलियत पे क्या सवाल तो नहीं पूछना चाहिए? डॉक्टर्स भी है, घनश्याम जी क्या कह रहे हैं आप? और इसमें there are engineers also, and if Babuji's and if there are Babus who are saying I will become part of government and we will try and work towards implementing it and doing it, then that's the reality. Then that we should say कि मौका तो मिल रहा है कम से कम. there are other people who are coming through the fore, and don't write off Ravi Shankar Prasad ji or Prakash Javadekar ji or Dr. Harshvardhan. They are here in the scheme of things. For all you know, they will just get a little more active in their defense of the government and the story of building Bharat, because they will have more time to also champion the story of the government, Ghanshyam ji. So they are in for tougher debates now, and a few more firebrand press conferences where the government will now suddenly look a little more stringent in its defense, strident in its defense. We'll have to see. But Guru Prakash Paswan, respond to Ghanshyam Tiwari.
No, I was listening very patiently to my dear friend Ghanshyam ji, but I really find it surprising and at some level laughable that Samajwadi Party is talking about talent, a political party that is premised around one family, or I think I would say one individual. They are speaking about talent. Now coming to the cabinet rejig or overhaul, as you stated, this is historic and unprecedented at many levels. I think merit and social representation were the two key foundations on which this was made. Now, when I say merit, you see Dr. Vaishnav, a Wharton-educated technocrat, to a Sagar University PhD holder, Dr. Virendra Kumar, who also happens to be a 7 times member of parliament. And Anandji, let me remind you that it's not easy to win even one Lok Sabha election, regardless of any wave, regardless of any national discussion. So a 7-time member of parliament will have a distinguished political experience in his mind. Point number 2, let me also remind my friend that it is the people of India who will decide the performance of the government and not a spokesperson from any other political party. Earlier, what used to happen? I was surprised to note that there was no cabinet participation from Tripura for the last 70 years. Can you imagine? There was no external affairs minister in the history of India since independence from Northeast. it is Mr. Rajkumar Ranjan Singh. So I seriously don't understand this. In a democracy, it is about share in power. It is about the share in responsibility. With 12 scheduled castes, 8 scheduled tribes, 27 OBCs and 11 women, I think it is easily the most diverse Council of Ministers in terms of age, gender, caste and region. So I think instead of making a critical comment, all of you, regardless of our political affiliation, must welcome and extend our congratulations and best wishes to the cabinet.
Yeah, I was just, we'll call out that graphic. I was just telling my team about a message. I'll say it on air that the number that we put out last evening in terms of the representation and the spread, more than 25 or 27 states and union territories find their representation in this cabinet. But let me go across to the bureaucrat in the mix. We'll play that out in just a bit. There is also some big announcements that have been made. We'll bring you up to speed on that. We've got time. We're going the whole hour only on this story. But let me go across to Vijay Shankar Pandey ji. Vijay Shankar Pandey ji, एक तरफ कहते हैं कि बाबू ही है, सब बाबूगिरी से चलता है, पर अब बाबूगिरी से ही चलता है, क्योंकि बाबू जो है उनको अगर मौका दिया जाए और सही बाबू को सही जगह रखा दिया जाए तो फिर काम हो भी जाता है. ये भी रियलिटी है.
आनंद जी, I entirely disagree with Tiwari ji's comments. Basically, those who have been inducted in the cabinet are members of parliament. The Prime Minister has to choose the talent among those who have been elected to Parliament, either Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. If he happens to be a doctor or an engineer or an IAS officer or ISO, what is wrong in that? Then, if you don't choose experts, then people say that you're not, putting talent in the cabinet. When they are chosen, then you say you are banking upon now IAS officer. Is there anything wrong with becoming an IAS officer, serving the country, and then getting a position after getting elected to the Parliament, getting a position in the cabinet? When you have engineers, doctors, chartered accountants, and teachers, everybody, this absolutely, it's this argument that, I don't agree with you at all, with him at all. Secondly, I will very clearly say that this is very good cabinet in the sense that the kind of representation it has given to all sections of population is very laudable, and most of the areas have been covered. Now the challenge before this team is to really perform. Now I will just make a point that many experiments have been conducted in the past, but they have not succeeded. Let's hope that this time it succeeds. I just take the example of skill development because some of the panelists mentioned about it. I served in the department where the skill development skill development subject was there in the HRD. This HRD department was created by late Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi in 1985. Now, it was such a kind of euphoria created around this concept that after HRD ministry has been created, things will change. In 10 years' time, this department got dismantled, and now the name even has gone. Now it will become Department of Education, which was before Rajiv Gandhi took over. Secondly, this skill development was always part of Education Department from day one. In 2000, the department got split, became higher education and elementary education. The then Minister HRD protested strongly, Dr. Joshi, that don't do that. But powers that be decided to do that. Then in 2004, I dealt with this skill development, subject in the HRD. 2004, when the UP government came, this subject got shifted to Labour Ministry, saying that Labour Ministry had the synergy to do the job thing. And surprisingly, you'll laugh at it. In 2008, the Skill Development Corporation was located in Ministry of Finance. Now, in 2014, it was created as a separate department. Now it has full circle. It's back to HRD. So let's look at things seriously, not just on slogans. Let's hope that this team succeeds. Their success is our success.
Correct.
Let's hope that the country progresses. So let's not be critical about what has been done. Youth is there, experience is there, representation is there. So let's wish them all the best and hope that they will, prove to the challenge that has been given to them, and the country will move forward.
True, but let me press you a little more. Do you think they've got the right intent? कई बार कहते हैं ना कि मैच से पहले सिलेक्शन ठीक हुआ है कि नहीं हुआ है. सेकंड इज कि आपकी स्ट्रेटेजी है कि नहीं. मैच जीतेंगे कि नहीं, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट पॉइंट. दैट वी विल हैव टू नो ओनली आफ्टर द गेम इज प्लेड, राइट? बट is the approach, intent and the direction in which this is going? And because you've been part of the system, I'm asking you, clubbing of certain ministries, Is it actually being done with a certain thought process, as has been claimed? What's your sense?
Anandji, Skill Development Ministry should have gone to HRD. It's very good that it has come back to HRD, education, sorry. So it belonged to that place. So I hope that skill development, performance will pick up immediately because of the synergy that it will have with the education. Now, the pharma is a very good idea that pharma should be located somewhere in the health ministry. But the problem with this decision is you have, finance, you have the fertilizer department and the chemical and petrochemical. I was secretary in both the departments, so I can tell you with little, confidence that fertilizer department is 3 times bigger than the, health department budget-wise. So you need tremendous, I will say time and energy to really look after this department. But let's hope, because the minister has been the Minister of State of this department for almost 5 years. I have served with him, so I know that because he's very competent. So let's hope that he will do it. So, synergy-wise, things have been done, with some logic. But my only concern is that we should succeed in this experiment.
Correct.
And for that to happen, our Prime Minister has to really lead the team. It all stops at him. If he looks after the departments, solves their problem, because ultimately, the Ministry of Finance is the key department, which allows the departments to work or not to work. And that coordination has to be done with the Prime Minister. I am very sure that he'll be able to do it, and we will take the country forward.
True. Karan Verma, coming to you after Rashid Kidwai, and then I'll go back to Guru Prakash Paswan and Dr. Hiranandani. Rashid ji, one of the things Ghanshyam Tiwari said is that the outspoken members or people who had their own mind, who could apply their own mind, they seem to have now reduced in the government, and there is now increasing centralization. Do you agree, disagree? What is your thought now after the portfolios have been assigned? The first meeting of the cabinet is over. The first meeting with the Council of Ministers is over.
Anand, I think my friend Ghanshyam obviously speaks from a political position, but this has been a case from 2014 onwards. This is a mandate that largely Prime Minister Narendra Modi won, not only for himself, but for a large number of BJP MPs who later became ministers. So that kind of thing, that outspokenness that he was perhaps talking about, what was there in UPA or could have been there, or in United Front or in Janata Party, that would not be there. So I think to expect that, it's a bit rich. I think in today's discussion, Mr. Pandey has made some very pertinent points, and that's where I would want to just make an observation that basically we tend to integrate ministries and all and showcase them as a huge achievement, but this should have been a very professional exercise. A team of former cabinet secretaries or secretaries should have dwelt upon it and decided, because many of the ministries are from leave from the British Raj system, and that colonial hangover is there, and the real integration has not taken place. I mean, you will be surprised to know when I'm not justifying that ban, but when Satanic Verses was banned, it was banned by the Ministry of Commerce because a book was a product and it was imported, so the Commerce Ministry was in play. There are several, such instances are there. So I hope it is a, clinical exercise. 7 years have passed for this government, but they still seem to be groping, bit in the dark. Today is not a day to criticize, but I think such exercise should have been, should have been conducted in much more clinical manner.
But somewhere one gets the impression that there has been a lot of time that's been spent, at least the last 1.5 to 2 months, even as the nation was trying to battle the second wave. This has been a work in progress. There have been a series of meetings, and perhaps somewhere there has also been a realization that some ministries during this pandemic itself, these learnings have come through. What's happened with Mansukh Mandavia ji, when you're seeing chemicals, fertilizers and health coming together, there is a reason why it has come, because you're trying to say, let's streamline processes in such a way that you don't have these interministerial hurdles, try and reduce it. And it is a process of learning, because things are also evolving. Karan Verma, how would you see this? Do you think this is opportunity that's being given a chance, and saying that, okay, just like a Rishabh Pant was given a chance, go ahead and perform. You stand up, Mayank Agarwal, go up, stand and perform. So just like same way a Nishit Pramanik is getting a chance, a Bharti Pawar is getting a chance.
Absolutely, Anand. I think it's a step in the right direction. It is a blend of skills and social engineering also. But again, I think the proof of the pudding lies in the eating. And, we talk about smart devices, smart phones, everything. How about some smart governance? Until and unless we do not have specific, measurable, actionable, relatable, and timely goals which are delivered, we can't really just be happy by good appointment of choices. Today we are talking about a Rishabh Pant because he delivered and won us that 4th test against Australia. So I think it's very important that just as we see in corporate governance, I think we have immense potential in our country. And look at some of the giant corporates who've done a tremendous job. Why can't we have that sort of professionalism where timely roadmaps are laid out? We have transparency towards the citizens as to what the goals are in a timely manner, and we can have regular audits. And the kind of debates we are having today on the appointments, how about having such debates on a regular basis to assess the performance, where we appreciate those who've delivered and we ask some stinging questions to the ones who've not delivered. I am so glad that certain heads have rolled and certain people were shown the door, because during the pandemic there were some glitches, and as you rightly pointed out, there were some interministerial hurdles that I'm aware of that propped up. It's good that there is a course correction, that they've streamlined the departments. But again, I would be happy only if the goals, the roadmap, and a consistent plan of audit is laid down. We want our country to run like an efficient corporates. We have so many success stories in our great country of corporates who've done an incredible job. How about India running professionally and in a transparent manner, which we all can be proud of? And
True.
I just don't agree with, Mr. Ghanshyam, who says that, oh, this party lacks talent, so they've gone to the bureaucrats. I think, if anything, this is a testimony to the fact that this government has taken a bold step. Rather than looking through the prism of politics, they've picked up bureaucrats who they believe can deliver the goods, who they believe know the job. So
True.
I think it's a step in the right direction.
No, and that's where Mr. Pandey is also right, where he says that they are all parliamentarians. चुनाव लड़के आए भाई, सब पहुंचे हैं, और they are in the Rajya Sabha and they've come through by the process where
and fighting an election requires tremendous experience, tremendous man management.
I think we put out that number that close to about 28 or 30 of these people are at least 3-time parliamentarians. So ऐसा नहीं है कि भाई they are not greenhorns. So
and it's amazing to see some enterprising individuals come up. I have great expectations for Mr. Pradhan. Correct. He delivered, and I really believe that an enterprising individual like him. Let's take the example of Mr. Gadkari. You go across party lines today, Anand. Everybody will have a good word to say about Mr. Gadkari. Why? Because he's an enterprising individual. He's delivered that in his private life, in his companies. He's delivered that as a minister in PWD. And today, nobody can raise a question on him. So I have tremendous expectations from him. I have tremendous expectations from Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Yeah. He is another individual who has accomplished a great deal in his personal life, and we need winners in personal life to approach politics rather than just pandering to individuals for social engineering purposes.
See, I think the underlying perspective, and I'll tell you, Ghanshyam Tiwari is putting up his hand. I think most important is that all these people, somewhere or the other, have a commitment towards the country. We may all differ personally in our political ideologies, etc. But this commitment towards country, commitment to taking India to a position, a solid position where we are a force to reckon with, we already are, but a level where we can compete, not just compete, we can outrun the best in the world and all fields, where we solidly, truly are Atmanirbhar. Beyond just being a political slogan, multiple leaders and multiple parties have said this in the past, Ghanshyamji, where we've talked about self-sufficiency, we've talked about, Swabhiman, we've talked about Atmanirbharta, like Prime Minister is saying. But this group seems to be, and I've interacted with a lot of them, this underlying feeling, that I want to do something for my country. Yes, I am an achiever, but I want to do something for my country. Correct. And Aishwarya Vaishnav, a Wharton-educated student, today while speaking to CNN News 18, answered all his answers, put all his answers in Hindi. He just wanted to speak in the language which everybody will understand or is most spoken. See, that thing, underlying aspect is something which stands out. I'm not questioning his knowledge in English or his choice. I'm just saying his comfort in speaking the language that is mass is important. And also representation coming in from 27 states and union territories is a huge thing. It's a pan-India presence. Ghanshyam Tiwari, yes. And then Dr. Hiranandani. Yeah.
Well, to all the criticism of my statement is what was written at News 18 and every other news channel, which is, I read from News 18, February 10th, response to the President addressed by the Prime Minister. Babus and IS officers not answer to every problem. The point I was trying to make is
that is
if the
quoting
Prime
out of
Minister had
context.
performed better,
Anand,
please
that is
note it.
quoting
No,
out
no,
of
it's okay.
context.
Let him make his point.
Sure.
Let him make
Sure.
his point. He has got a point of view, and he should be given the opportunity to place his point of view.
I started by saying that if the Prime Minister of India had performed better, he would not have to boot out half his cabinet. That is why my basic point. You cannot have a leader who has messed up the economy, who has messed up the employment opportunities, the harmony in the country. You look at what happened in Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Pandey comes from Uttar Pradesh. District after district right now is burning under attack on democracy. People, women saris have been taken off. Mata Prasad Pandey, senior MLA who has been member of Samajwadi Party, who was Speaker of the House, he was attacked. The kind of scenes that you see. My basic point is, हाथी के दांत खाने के और हैं, दिखाने के और हैं. There is a set of leaders who are there to present the disharmony rhetoric of Hindu-Muslim nafrat, and then there is a set of bureaucrats who are brought in because the mess is too much for the Prime Minister to handle. That is my basic point.
Anand, can I quickly rebut that, please?
Yeah, and then Guru Prakash Paswan. Yes, Karan. Yeah.
Anand, the Prime Minister said this when there was a discussion being carried out that will Babus and bureaucrats have the answer to all problems? Because generally people believe they run the country. That was the discussion there. So he said, no, I want you all also to push the envelope. I want politicians, I want ministers to come up with solutions also. That was the limited context in which he made that point. So I think Ghanshyam needs to correct that.
True. Point well taken. गुरु प्रकाश पासवान, पॉलिटिकल कंसिडरेशंस हैं, हाथी के दांत खाने के और दिखाने के और. आपने एक चेहरा प्रस्तुत किया है, लेकिन आपका चेहरा कुछ और है, ग्राउंड पर कोई कुछ और कर रहा है.
नहीं आनंद जी, I think it's a political compulsion of my friend Ghanshyam Tiwari to criticize this rejig that has happened. But let me make this very clear that there are two former chief ministers as well. Mr. Narayan Rane, Mr. Sarbananda Sonowal, they have ran big states, like with good population as well. So they come with a wealth of experience. They come with the wisdom of managing bureaucrats as well. And I'm happy, Anandji, and let me make this confession on air tonight, that such a meaningful discussion has been happening on your show. Like it is very educative for a young political activist like me. But the sort of conversation which we are having a day after cabinet expansion, we should take a note of it. The conversation that used to happen 10 years ago, couple of lobbyists, couple of so-called senior journalists, they were playing a decisive role in allocation of portfolios, and the sort of opaqueness that was there 10 years ago, and the sort of freshness in the conversation with respect to cabinet that is today, it is phenomenal. And whoever, regardless of his or her political affiliation, must welcome this political development. Also, there is a focus on performance, there is a focus on professionalism, but we should also be cognizant of the fact that there are certain social realities of our country. There are certain social structural problems that exist in our country. There is a big section of people who have been at the margins. They have been politically, economically, and socially deprived for ages. So I think it's very important, and we have had leaders. We have had Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Babu Jagjeevan Ram, later Kanshi Ram, Ramvilas Paswan, who have given voice to the voiceless. So until and unless there is voice, there is not going to be any choice. So I think you should not undermine this factor of representation or not discard it in the name of social engineering. It is very crucial and one of the very important takeaways of the development that has happened yesterday. Also, allegations such as centralizing of power, too much focus on PMO. I would like to remind my friends who are making this allegation that in 10 years of UPA government, there was an unelected body called NAC who used to make all the decisions. Who was it accountable to? Was it a responsible body? It was not an elected body. It was accountable to no one, and it was making all the legislation bypassing the PMO. An ordinance by the PMO, it was tore down by Mr. Rahul Gandhi. So if the PMO is playing an effective role, if the PMO is playing a decisive role, I don't see any problem or any conflict of interest with that. So focus on social justice, focus on performance, focus on diversity in terms of age, gender and region is equally important with respect to professionalism, Anandji.
True, I agree with you there, but there is also one aspect that the people who've been shunted and this decision that's been coming, these people have been there in the system for a long time. Why didn't this decision happen in May 2019 when Prime Minister Narendra Modi came back with his government? Why has it taken 26 months for this rejig to happen? This cabinet reshuffle itself has taken the stock has been going on for more than a year. Yes, the pandemic set in, but had these people already been there, wouldn't it have been a little more effective? Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, some announcements have been made today. I'll come to that in just a bit. But do you think that the intent is right? Do you think that the right people have been given the right portfolios? Are you happy? Because you've been tracking these developments very closely. How is corporate India responding to this cabinet reshuffle?
I think very positively in terms of it. I'm not going to talk about the polity part of it, but the performance of Gadkari, absolutely fantastic. 37 kilometers of national highway per day. Look at the position of Hardeep Puri in the housing sector. It's not even being talked about. But he managed to bring in RERA, which brought about transparency, which is effective. He brought about housing for all, and the scheme of the PMAY scheme. He is going to be able to successfully complete 1.1 crore houses in the year 2023. And that's why he's been made into a cabinet minister and now given petroleum and gas. I think extremely important with the issues of petroleum which are coming. So performance is definitely being given. Of course, consolidation in terms of what was given to Piyush Goyal in terms of exports and now textiles to bring it into consolidation. I think in every case, I'm not again commenting on any polity issues which the politician should answer, but I do see that meritocracy is definitely a point which is taken in the reshuffle at this point of time, and we compliment that completely. And what may be perceived as non-performance by various people have been looked upon negatively, but I think that is the way to go as far as that issues are concerned. Of course, meritocracy, whether it is a bureaucrat, whether it is a politician or anything, I don't think makes much of a difference. What is wrong with a bureaucrat? What is wrong with a politician? What is wrong with a businessman who comes into the into polity or in the ministry? I think all should be more than welcome to do it. So I am very much clear that meritocracy is being clearly defined as far as the Prime Minister is concerned in this reshuffle.
Well, true. Let's just quickly get look at some numbers, and then I'll take to the panel the announcements that have been made after the first cabinet meeting. We've all been talking about what kind of representation is there in this government and meritocracy, professionals. Where are they coming from? So this is the number that we put out yesterday. I've just requested our team to call it back, and thanks for doing this. The average age, this is the youngest ever cabinet we have had. The average age is 56 years of this council. 46 ministers have experience at the center. Then 8 ministers with experience in the states. 23 ministers who have been MPs at least thrice. This was the number I was telling you. There are 3-time parliamentarians, 23 of them out of 77. 4 former chief ministers. Guru Prakash Paswan said 2. There are 4 former chief ministers. 39 former MLAs. And 31 professionals. 31 professionals who are either lawyers, doctors, civil servants. 25 states and union territories have been represented, and 5 ministers from the Northeast. This is also a never before. And now to the cabinet announcement soon after the meeting of the new cabinet for the first time with Prime Minister Narendra Modi after they had taken charge of their offices. A 23,123 crore package for emergency health infra. 20,000 ICU beds under the COVID relief package will be built. Pediatric care centers in 736 districts, which will also be hybrid, so they can take care of children and they can also take care of senior citizens. 1 lakh crore fund for farmers under APMC has been announced. Efforts to provide more resources to APMCs, so strengthening the APMCs is something which has been a demand of the farmers, saying aap APMC khatam kar rahe ho, so we are buying through APMCs and also strengthening and upgrading them, but giving the kisan the option to sell outside the APMC too. and reconstitution of the Coconut Board. That has also been announced. So some critical announcements that have been made by the cabinet just after their first meeting with the Prime Minister. Now let's take this back to Rashid Kidwai and Vijay Shankar Pandey ji. Vijay Shankar Pandey ji, the health infrastructure, and Dr. Hiranandani also, I'll go back to him and ask him. See, in terms of focus on what needs to be built, what needs to be done, processes have been put in place. Now the task for these people is to implement, because it's only the implementation that is going to be reflecting in the report card. Aap policy chahe jitni bhi bana le, jab tak till the time you don't implement it on ground, it's not going to work. And they've said that this is what they're going to start doing. Day one, these are the announcements that have been made.
Anand ji, I totally agree with you that unless we implement the policies, it doesn't make any difference. देखिए मैं आपको बड़ा clear कहूँ कि country knows what needs to be done. क्योंकि lots of commissions have been set up for past 6 decades. Lots of committees have submitted the report. I was part of a committee of secretaries, set up by the Honorable Prime Minister twice, and we went through all the problems that the country is facing, all the departments put together, and recommendations are made. So the country knows, the government knows what needs to be done. Now is the question of implementation. So if we are not groping the dark, what needs to be done? Everybody knows that our health sector is poor. Our agriculture, our education sector is in shambles. What needs to be done has been told. That now there comes the implementation part. There are two components of it. One is getting the finances, other is implementing it on the ground. That's why I earlier mentioned, here Prime Minister comes in the picture. He has to now ensure that whatever he tells has to be implemented. And for that, no other department should be putting any kind of hurdle in the operations. Finance has to be tagged totally for the implementation, and implementation should be taken care of. Now, these announcements made regarding the COVID thing are temporary measures. They are welcome. They need to be put in place so that the third wave we are able to handle properly. But it doesn't solve the problem.
Correct.
We have to go a long way. We have to have proper infrastructure, health infrastructure, education infrastructure, and other infrastructure in place so that we don't, land up in such troubles every now and then. We are so lowly judged across the world because of our poor infrastructure, poor health, poor education. Why should we be in such a condition when we have money? Anandji, let me make it one point very clear. I've served in the government for 37.5 years. This country is not short of money. If anybody says that, he's lying.
Paisa
or
nahi hai,
he
wo to
doesn't
nahi hai.
understand.
Yeah, nobody can say we don't have money. It's about intent. But the fact is, sir, from somewhere we seem to have handled the crisis much better than nations like the United States also.
Absolutely.
Despite having such a lesser number of population and a higher perceived infrastructure, we seem to have handled it much better. But we can do more. But we don't need to peg ourselves against any other nation. We just need to peg it against our own standards. And Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, when Mansukh Mandavia says that we are going to focus on trying to make hybrid beds, that means there is a thought process there saying that not just children, this can cater to other people too, and these beds will be continued to be put to use even going forward. Karan, coming to you after Dr. Hiranandani.
Okay. I think, Anand, you've hit the nail on the head. The announcement which is made on the health side was absolutely essential because we were kind of shaken up with the second wave. And now the Prime Minister is very clear and the cabinet that we are not going to be able to be shaken up again. Vaccination, though delayed, is now the focus of the area. But we are preparing for the third wave if at all it comes into action. And there will be enough infrastructure which is there. Oxygen on one side is being pushed into all the sectors, and all these production of oxygen has now been put up. Many PSA plants have been put. Many states have put up the oxygen plants. The infrastructure in terms of beds, ICU beds are also being taken up. I think the preparation and the rollout, but I agree completely. It's going to be execution that we will need to see in order to see that the intent which the Prime Minister has put on the table is actually action now. For example, we have a great national education policy. We have a wonderful skill development policy, but we need to see that executed. In the last couple of years, we have seen that defaulting. And I think a lot of work needs to be put in terms of the education policy and the skill development to take it to the next level. But it appears very clearly that the statements coming from the Prime Minister is very clear that the intent and now the execution is being well monitored. I think that is something which the nation would love to see in terms of implementation of the action and intent which is being announced constantly a day after the cabinet has come. I think it's a fantastic statement. I hope to God that we are able to execute it the way the statement has come, because as he says correctly, no shortage of resources. Mr. Gadkari always says the same thing. 35 kilometers, do you have the money? Of course we have the money. There's no shortage of money for good intent and good infrastructure to be made for the country. I think if we continue in that direction, execution, vaccination, all these things will become very important in the coming months.
True, absolutely. Karan, you wanted to say something. Got to take a short break, but yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Anand, look, there's a common saying that if only our politicians, and we have many politicians who've been elected multiple times in this cabinet, illustrious political records, if only politicians were as driven about governing as they were about winning an election, India would be a far, far better place. And for that, let's pick up and study those who've actually executed and delivered. When we talk about Mr. Gadkari, who we are all very proud of, you know, they have dashboards. They have war rooms where you have in real time how much they've delivered at what instant. We had the example of Gov India, our website, where the Prime Minister had a complete dashboard in a war room where he delivered on war footing the gas connections, the electricity reached to villages and other such things. But we did not extrapolate that to every aspect of governance. When you look at their elections, and you've covered that extensively on many occasions, you look at a Prashant Kishore, how they map an election, where they have a war room and everything is mapped in real time. We want the same approach to apply to every portal of governance. And that should be transparent for everyone to see. Mr. Gadkari appointed it. Mr. Pradhan deployed it very effectively. That's why we could see the success of the gas connection scheme. So I think we need to look for these methods to implement.
No, and these have been employed by effective ministers abroad, across. I've seen Mr. Piyush Goyal also do it. He was handling 3 important ministries at one point in time. There are many people who have done it. And in fact, when you're talking about the establishment of these oxygen plants, it's 830 plus. PSA oxygen plants, which the DRDO is now working closely with the Ministry of Roadways.
There are many ministries where it has not been deployed, like the HRD ministry. The HRD ministry is in bad need. I know because I work with them closely. They are in dire need of something of that sort. The railway ministry, yes, they were doing well. In fact, if you ask me, I'm sad that Mr. Piyush Goyal has moved out from here. Because he was doing an incredible job and we needed a sustained effort. So there are many ministries which need that sort of a thing. I would love to see the Prime Minister handhold these new ministers to get them implement.
I think everybody will be given a chance to get a feel and put in their own processes, do it there. You know, you can either go ahead and tonk a 6 off the first ball and then get the run rate easy like a Virender Sehwag, or just convert ones into twos like a Virat Kohli and continue to keep the same
cricketing analogies.
Continue to keep the same strike rate, but everybody has their own way. But your task is very clear. You got 6 overs, you got 60 runs to get, and you got to go at 10 runs and over. So how you get those 10 runs will give you the chance. But you look at the most effective method. But the fact is that you are starting at 10 runs and over. So the slower you are, the faster you will have to run towards the end, and that means you're going to be out of breath. So you got to hit the ground running, and that's what's happening. Gentlemen, we're going to take a very short break. Rashid Kidwai, Guru Prakash Paswan, Ghanshyam Tiwari, Dr. Hiranandani, Vijay Shankar Pandey and Karan Verma. Please stay with us. When we come back, a new ministry that's been created. We'll get the thoughts of our panel and we'll tell you what that is and why it is significant. Stay with us.